morena. E te ao Māori, tēnā tātou katoa. Kai te pāpā, te ariki tēnā koe tuku nei ngā kupu kōrero ki te wāhi ngaro. Ka mihi rā ki a koe, ko noho hei pau, mo tātou o te arawa, ai ngā rā ko hipa ake. Nā rungi te āhuatanga o te mate, i pā ki a koe, i nā tau ko weheak, ko hipa. Hoi no, e tautoka ki ngā mihi ki a koutou katoa, te motu ko tae mai, ngā manuhiri tuārangi, o tira a koutou ko hare mai tawhiti, i tata ki eke mai, ki te pai poto o ho mai tawhiti, tēnā koutou kia ora tātou. Kia ora tātou. Me te mohuena o ki ngā pōnei i takuto mai, te ika huirua, i wainganui a mātou o te arawa, ka tangi ake ki a rātou, me te ki waiho rātou ki oki, anei tātou hui nei tēnei rā. Huri noa, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa. Kia ora everyone, and can I start by welcoming all of our international visitors, but also, and I'll come back to Sir Mason shortly, but to our Aboriginal leaders, Professor Tom Kauma, First Nations Keynote speaker, I believe, William Birdshead, also to Aboriginal Keynote speaker, Rosalie Monks, to all of our First Nations brothers and sisters, to all our First Nations people o Aotearoa, tēnā koutou, to all our guests, our visitors, our advocates, our scholars. It's nice to be with you this morning. To our international visitors, welcome to Aotearoa, welcome to Rotorua, where that beautiful smell wakes you up every morning, gets you going. You know you're here, you know you're on this earth. So welcome. Welcome to Turamarama ki te ora, and can I say, just on a personal note, a huge congratulations to Michael and your team, and to Ngāti Piki, te runanga o Ngāti Piki. This kaupapa in our township has been pretty much driven by people like you, Michael, and of course, Māpihi. But congratulations to you for all the work that you've done in bringing this conference here. I'm pretty proud of the fact that you've been able to do all that work and work amongst our people here at home. So ka nui te mihi ki a koe. Thank you to Sir Mason for providing the policy for the Māori Party for the next election. There's one thing worse than following on Sir Mason, and that is following Sir Mason. Because he said it all. Man, what can you add to what he's set out for you? I'm not a practitioner. I'm not in this field. It's not the things that I have any expertise in. But so for him to lay it out is pretty awesome. But most importantly, he just didn't lay it out. He actually gave us a pathway forward. And I know my president's here, Nader, but the declaration, really, you cannot go past that stuff, honestly. And so I'd be hoping to pick some of that stuff up, and I want to come back to the last point you made about politics and parliamentarians and central government very shortly. I've got a speech, but it sort of doesn't make too much sense now listening to Sir Mason. I'm just being honest. I think the great thing about having a conference is that it does bring our people together to have a kōrero. And I'm not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. Why? Because I simply don't know. If I knew the answers, I'd have a professor title in front of me, and I might be a rich man as well. I'm neither of those, so I won't profess to tell you all the stories. But can I just say that, sometimes we've got to look back to our past and where we've come from to find some answers. That for me seems to be a way forward. I mean, in a sense, we're all connected, our Indigenous brothers and sisters from out the world. Wherever we go, I think that we have an automatic connect with them, and I know that pretty much the issues that affect our Indigenous brothers and sisters from wherever they are throughout the world, they affect us as Māori as well. So whakapapa is important, and the links to other Indigenous peoples throughout the world is important to us. So in that regard, I am really pleased to be here with you at a pretty significant conference, and it must be because you've been able to draw together a huge pool of expertise that have either started yesterday at the beginning of your kōrero or will continue throughout me and leave me aside. Leave me aside, I might be the exception. I hope this conference is a time to explore, to dream, to share the essence of who we are as Indigenous peoples, and to use the rich ground of of knowledge, to sow and grow some resilience amongst us, because sometimes that's exactly what we need. Like our voyaging ancestors before us, we do possess that sort of brave, determined attitude to navigate us through the turbulent waters and the hardship that affects many of our whanau. And I reckon that the same sort of brave and courageous spirit is amongst you all. In fact, I heard it on the radio yesterday when I listened all the way in from the airport, all the way home to Mike Smith, and at least I caught part of his address yesterday. And I'll come back to him shortly. But I do staunchly believe that the core cultural values of our Indigenous peoples provides us with a way forward. And they are expressed by things like whanaungatanga, manaakitanga and wairuatanga. But you know what? Our te ao Māori, sometimes it's easy to talk about it, but we don't necessarily deliver on it. I sort of heard that message from Mike last night, that we talk about aroha and manaaki, but to practice it, we fall short. If there's a challenge to be taken up, I absolutely agree with that. And that's why I think Sir Mason as the creator, part of the creator, being the creative team of Whanau Ora, it's so good to be here. Why? Because Whanau Ora was created out of a belief that we can do things for ourselves and that we are not all mad, sad and bad. In fact, if I saw his introduction, that's pretty much was the picture that was painted. In fact, we have huge potential, we have mana, we have resilience. It's all within ourselves, and that's what we have to pick up. So dumping the rest of that speech, and with a small amount of time to go, I got to say that last year when I came to this conference, and this year, it's with a sort of, I feel like an imposter. Why? Because I'm a minister of the Crown. And to be truthful, I feel a sense of real apprehension attending hui on suicide. It's a feeling of sort of being inadequate. What can I possibly say? What can I possibly do in a group of people in a hui that has either felt the effects of suicide or works in this area? What can I possibly say? Not a lot. You are the leaders, you are the thought provokers, you are the practitioners, you are the whānau that have felt the effects of suicide. As I tuned into Mike yesterday, he really got my emotions going, sort of high and way down low. That's one of the things about being a minister. You can see the wonderful things of te ao Māori, but man, you can see the ones that really struggling on a day-to-day basis. I think Mike made it really clear. Governments, hopeless. Hopeless for doing anything to assist in this area. Governments throw money out to the providers and say, here what, scrap over it. That's what I heard him talking about yesterday. I think he said that adults have to learn to zip it and let the young ones talk. Let them do their thing without our classic condemnation of them and what they do. He said that our young ones have so much potential. He said, I think, that what it is about pain and hurt on a number of ways. But the biggest message that he left for me was, as a society, if we're really going to talk about aroha ki te tangata, then we have to make it happen and make it a reality. Don't just talk about it, make it happen, do it. So the best I can do for you is to be a role model of what it might look like. I try, sometimes fail, but those are the values that, as a political movement, we try to talk about in the Māori Party, and we actually have to check ourselves, just as I've got to check myself often about what the things that I do and say. Like I say, I'm worried about coming to this conference because I always feel so inadequate. Inadequate because generally people don't trust politicians or like them or both. Don't like us, don't trust us, or don't like us and don't trust us. And that's a problem, I suppose, if people want some help, especially from a government. Can I give any money? Yes. Will it ever be enough? No. Do people want money? Not sure. As Mike said, you divide the sector up and everybody scrambles for that little bit of money. What should or could be funded? Last year I gave a commitment to follow through to try and get some pute, and we've been able to get you some. The decisions haven't been made as yet, but we got some money. Is it enough? Hand on heart, no. But it's a start. And we'll continue to try and get some more to help. This is said to be a youth issue, and yet all we end up doing is putting adults up like me to talk. There's another problem, and worse, I'm a politician. People can speak about this issue yet actually have no knowledge of what it's like. A broken leg you can see, a broken heart, a broken wairua you cannot see. So I thank Mike for opening up that kōrero last night. If he was the calibre of speakers and following on from Sir Mason, man, you're so awesomely lucky to have those people provide an insight into this kaupapa. Because I've only had a little bit of experience in this area. Does that mean I have to stop? No. And I'll tell you very quickly about them and leave you with one part. My experience when it hit my heart about what it means around suicide is pretty simple. The first time was when I met a lady who was associated, and she might be here, a Pākehā lady in Auckland who wanted to see me when I was an MP. She was associated with the beginnings of a group called Casper. It was 2 or 3 years after the death of her son. She came and spoke to me, never touched base with her at all ever in my life. She sat down and for about an hour and a half just cried and told her story. That just knocked me around a fair bit because I'm an emotional fella anyway. But I sat and listened to her story, and that was 2.5 years after her son had died. Her life just destroyed. Good job, good house, marriage, everything. Bang, gone. Man, that was like a smack in the head for me. And then I had to welcome home a young fella back here to Rotorua. And I had to watch his mum and his whanau and his grower and his iwi cry. Now, we all cry at tangi, but that sort of tangi, nah, it was different. Then I made some statements publicly, which I've since apologised for. Why? Out of sheer frustration about what to do. What can I do as a person with influence in this area? So I made a statement. It didn't go down too well. Like I say, last year, I apologise for that, for the hurt that I caused. But I honestly say it was made out of frustration about how can I help, what can I do. I've been over to Kawerau to sit with whānau and mums, sisters, when they had a conference for the whole town. Kawerau put on all this music. These young ones stood up and they just sung and did everything they could to pick the whole wairua of Kawerau up. It was amazing. But sitting next to a mum who lost her boy, that was hard. 2 weeks ago, we had a tangi at home here. Again, another young fella brought home. He had to try and defend it. That's too hard. But I really felt sorry for the minister at the time. The minister was a churchman who came out to do the service the night before. And he gave a sermon. And I think in his heart, he wanted to just simply say, like me, enough. We were worried because there were a lot of young people there thinking, whoa, we've got to stop this. Something's up. And he made a statement along the lines that sort of, it's got to stop. Waste of life. There's got to be a better way. Or other words along the line, but whatever he said after that basically went down like a lead balloon with the whānau. They said, stop that, no more kōrero, shut it down, talk about the good things. Well, actually, I think, to be fair to that minister, all he was trying to do was be like me, to say, hey, come on, let's do something here. What can we do? Unfortunately, he wasn't invited back the next day to complete the service. Got another minister. Why? Because people didn't like the message. So the part I want to just sort of close by saying is this, that there are people who want to help. It's just about where and how. If I knew the answers to that, I'd be a very happy man, and that declaration was pretty much the start for me. So I commit to that declaration in front of you, and this week, if it's approved by this conference, I'd be happy to take it up, because I think it does everything that we need and makes a solid statement about what's needed. I'll close with this. So Mason, you made the point about, and people will make the point, around the part that politics plays in all this. Well, te ao Māori, if that's the case, this isn't a political platform to do that. But here's the scenario. There's two of us in one party that sits next to a national government and could sit next to a Labour government. We could do that. But two people to carry all this sort of stuff, come on. Think about it. If only we got to a point of believing in ourselves and understanding the political environment, then maybe there might be change when you get to a position to be able to make change. Getting a pūtea out of a national government, I'm pretty happy about, albeit it ain't enough to do the job. But actually there's so much more to be done by way of that declaration, and it should be just the startings to carry on. So I'll leave you with this because it's important, and this is not a political broadcast. I'll just tell you straight fact. Fact is, in the Parliament of your land where you expect to get decisions, there are 121 members of Parliament. Fact, in order to be the government of the day, you must have 61 members of Parliament on your side to vote. Fact, National Party has 59. Fact, they are short. 59, 61, they are short. Fact, Labour and the Greens have 32 and 14. With the Greens, they get to 58. Short, cannot be the government. The point is, to be government, you must be 61. Where does the Māori Party fit? We provide those 2 votes to maintain the government, to get policies done, to get some money for our people, to be a minister, to make change. In 1 year's time, that time is going to come around again. In fact, just in case, because I know that at every audience that I go to, not many people know this, there are not 4 seats available for Māori, there are 7. Waiariki is one of them. You have a choice. And the last fact is, I know today in this room, half of you will be on the general roll and half of you be on the Māori roll. The last message is, if you want change and if you want to move to change, think about where you're going to put that vote next year and put it in the right place, where you can actually influence decision making. But please don't put everything just on 2 people, because at the end of the day, MMP says, fact, no one party can govern by themselves. They need friends. And we're a loving people. With that, ka nui te mihi kia koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. He wai, anei. Anei taku wai, anei taku wai. He wai ata e tangi ana mo te hongo kua ngaro. Ko ia tēnei, te mone hutanga te whakapua ki te ara taoroa, ki ngā pai pai maunga, ihi koea e te tine, e te mano. Kia tau ki te toka o maumahara, e kani nei e te haumaranga i mate, e ngau kino nei te aroha e. E ngau kino nei te aroha mo te hunga kua ngaro, koe no, waihora tau ki oki oki. Anei koutou, te ao Māori, e noho matāra nei, Māori ora, tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa.